heavy enough. If I hit the ground, I'm going to make a pretty good thud. Another day. Dark when we leave and dark when we get home. A lot of people don't like winter just because of the short days. I personally, I'm a fan of winter and fall. The short days don't bother me as long as we've got the cooler working weather and no leaves, no vegetation. And I think that comes from my dad growing. Dad's over there. First tree of the day is going to be that big one, I guess. We'll go over here and check all the vital signs on the D model. Make sure oil and everything's good to go. Probably going to have to give her a little sneeze of ether this morning because I doubt she's going to want to start too easily. I have no doubt she'll fire up, but she might not like it. She's going to spit and sputter for a while. So I think we've got 3 trees to get blah, 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 blah. I think we've got 3 trees to get today, is what Dad and I have decided. Like I said, I'd love to cut that whole fence row. And in the beginning, when we first talked about this job or got it, that's what we want to do, is cut every tree out of that fence row. Well, since then, things have changed. They've just told us to use our best judgment on taking trees that need to come down. And like I said, I would love to cut them all, I would, but that wouldn't me being honest and fair with them. So we're going to take a couple of those big ones that are showing some dead limbs and decayed, decline in life. But maybe the next go around we'll cut them then. Anyway, let's check our vitals here, oil, and we'll see if we get this thing started up. I myself am kind of a worrywart when it comes to equipment, so I like to get in here and kind of look everything over. Always check for debris around the turbo, stuff like that. Even though I've got fire extinguisher on board, still, the last thing you want is any kind of fire. Here she goes. Come on, girl. We're going to let her sit there and warm up a little bit. She can bask in the sunlight. Now for pulling trees today, I'm going to grab an extra choker off the back of the truck here. By the looks of it, we've used this one to pull trees before because it's kind of kinked up on that one end. I always try to keep a handful of chokers on the truck. I like to try to keep everything I need on the truck. Usually 2 or 3 of one of everything I need. But definitely it helps having an extra choker. That way when you get up in the tree, you can go ahead and just wrap this where you want to tie to and run it down to the choker on the end of the table there. So Dad wanted to get us another choker to hook into this tree. I'm up in here and I've got this 10-footer wrapped around it, and it just, we don't have a whole lot of slack to hook another one. And to make it easier on Dad and myself, it'd be easier just to have another choker to hook onto this and lower down to the choker on the main line instead of try to feed that short 8-footer up here to me. We're not a long ways off the ground, but for a guy as big as me, far enough. I'm not usually a fan of climbing up trees to hook chokers, but a lot of times it's something we just got to do. As much as I weigh, I'd make a pretty good thud if I hit the ground. You guys that climb trees for a living, more power to you guys, are awesome. I couldn't do it. Not for me. I'm just going to hang out here and wait till Dad throws this cable up and we'll get hooked up and off to the races we'll go. Got to get the long bar out for this one, which I kind of figured we would. Skidder looks good sitting there, doesn't it? Dad's going to start out cutting it with his 25-inch bar on his saw, and he's going to finish it off with that 32-inch bar on my saw. I just cut a couple of limbs off there, and the reason for it is when we hooked the cable up, I wasn't paying attention, and we hooked that cable on the back side of those limbs, so it wasn't getting the right angle like it needs to be. So now when we tighten up, it'll be a straight shot out here to the machine. You realize really how fat and out of shape you are when you got to swing that big 32-inch bar around. You don't think it makes that much of a difference until you get to running it. We didn't get so lucky with this one. Still not terrible, but it's not a very big spot, all things considered. This is just shadow right here. So your hole, which is still a big hole, don't get me wrong. That area. 10 foot, 33 inches, first log. She definitely needed to come down. Now the fun part, getting all this mess all worked up. I know for us, these skid steers have been a lifesaver. They've really cut the amount of work down we have to do, or speed up the amount of time we spend on tackling projects like this, just because, well, you can do so much more with this on a cleanup than you can that log skidder right there. Now this top's so big, what we're getting ready to do is go in here and get some of it out of the way so we can work the rest of it up. Make it a little easier on me and Dad, a little safer. And we'll see if we can wrestle this devil out of here. Dad thinks there's going to be about 1,400 foot total in this tree. Pretty good stick all in all. Dad, we'll cut this other top up. That's got them all pulled. I'm glad that's done. We pull a lot of trees, but I never get real excited about doing it because it really takes a lot of good communication between the cutter and the skidder operator when you're pulling some of these trouble trees. Luckily, Dad and I have been doing this long enough. We've got a system down pretty good, but still, there's some you just worry to death about. I've never got the right phone mount when I need it. This is a double tree, the second tree we pulled today. Hopefully we can pick this up here. What we're gonna do is, hopefully, I'm gonna drop this and it's gonna split and not come back on us. Here we go. It did not split. So a lot of times you can take these doubles like this when you cut into them, which we'll have to cut into this one a little more. We can split that right down the middle and make two good logs out of it. Now that short piece there is not quite big enough for a log by itself, and it would bring more money if it was just halved in two, and that's the reason why we do that. So we'll see if we can get it cut a little more than try to bust it again. There we go. Told you the old girl's got a nasty drinking problem. Going on the third tank of fuel for this week. She likes to drink. Well, that concludes this part of the farm right here. We cut 20 trees out of here, all cleaned up. On the right there, I had one tree top left to go today, and I busted a couple hydraulic lines, not one but two. Both the hydraulic lines on the grapple that feed into the skid steer. So that was a pretty good way to end the day. I ended up finishing the cleanup with the bucket, which you can do, but it's incredibly a pain and time consuming. So everything looks good though, got it all slicked up. I just went through here and I shaped all the logs up, rounded them. So everything's looking good. 2 tanks of gas to do that. On these big rough pasture trees, a lot of knots, a lot of limbs, a lot of logs come out of limbs. So took quite a bit to go through and round them up for just 20 trees. I didn't get a total of the final log count. We'll do that in tomorrow's video. But that's it today. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.